But as a trader, what you want to be able to do, right, is you want to be able to put yourself in a position to analyze data, right, and be able to make a decision. Okay, so that's where it's like you want to understand it's not about working harder when it comes to trading. When you work a job, the more hours you work, the more money you're going to make. Some people, they start businesses and they think the more hours you work, the more money you make. And I mean, at the end of the day, that is true to a degree, but that's not how the lives you drop a 7 in the chat if you want financial freedom. And when I say financial freedom, I really mean time freedom, right? I mean, if we say financial freedom, you're gonna be working till you die, because what's the definition of that, right? You guys, if you're looking for time freedom or family freedom, or you're looking to be able to, right, just claim it, right? Put a 7 in the chat. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm not talking to you from a perspective of just like, you want to work harder and put in more time on the chart so that you can make money. Like, no, there's a smarter way to play the game, right? If you can develop a bias, guys, I want you to write that word down. I'm going to use that word a lot. Okay, the way that I trade, that is a very, very important word. Okay, you want to be able to develop a bias, very simply. Okay, a bias, right? An example of a bias, you guys ever, dated, or had friends, who you had bad experiences with. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all ever had bad, people in your life you had bad experiences with? Okay, and they gave you red flags, right? They gave you red flags. Okay, so you're a little bit of biased towards those red flags. Like, some of y'all don't even like whole zodiac signs because they're your red flags, right? So you be sitting there like, look, here she go, Cancers, right? Red flag. She has a bias against that. So when she sees that show up, that when she sees that, all right, where my kick button at real quick? I don't even know why I let her on the call. Let me get her out of here. My bad, y'all. I ain't even mean for y'all to have to go through no Virgo slander. Y'all don't even deserve that. I got y'all. I'm gonna get y'all right. You feel me? I'm gonna get y'all right. I don't know what was going on there for a second, guys. My fault. I had to get her up out of here. but y'all know the vibes, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's not about putting in more hours. You want to develop a bias, and that bias is going to protect you in the markets. Because I promise y'all this right here. Once you press the buy or sell button, I'm letting you know, like, you think it does, but your logic goes out the window. As a professional trader, you just expect that, right? But once you press the button, your logic, it's like you ever took a sell before and then you started to see the buy? You ain't even hit stop loss yet. You know what I'm talking about? You didn't even hit stop loss yet. You took the sell and you was like, man, but yeah, the buy looked pretty good. At this point, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay in the sell, and then when it go in profit, I'm gonna take the buy. And then now, if worst case scenario, if it go back, I'm in the buy. Y'all never did that before? Like, all right, okay, it was just me, whatever, right? But I know about you. All right, I know about you. So this is why you want to have a bias, right? A bias is going to make you feel confident in the market. Okay. The reason that the bias is important, because if you're confident in the market, you're not going to over leverage. Why, Maverick? Why does that even matter? Why would, if I have a bias, why would I not over leverage? Well, if you have an edge when it comes to trading, right? If you are able to develop a bias consistently in the market, doesn't mean that you would trust yourself to be able to make money every single week or every single month when you trade. Isn't that the case? So like, then when you actually have that confidence, you lose that desire to over leverage, because you making money. It doesn't come from, it doesn't come from you being able to just be able to win trades. Okay. I want you guys to understand that, business trading, there's a version of it where it's a gamble. Okay. When you wake up in the morning, it's a gamble. You don't even know if you gonna walk outside and it's gonna go the way you want it to go when you walk outside. Right. But at the end of the day, it's consistency that turns it into a business. Right. It's the same thing for e-commerce. When you buy clothes, when you buy a product, when you find a manufacturer, you don't know for a fact that the product is going to get to the customer with no issues. It's a gamble, right? It's a chance. But through consistency, through the numbers, you know that 70-80% of the time my clients are going to get the right product. 90% of the time my clients are going to get the right product. I don't have to worry about that, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to trading. You develop a bias or a system to come to a bias. And now that you have that system, you're going to be confident in making decisions and sticking to your plan, right? Does that make sense? Right? Y'all said medium. Okay. I hope that makes sense. All right. So the way that I come to my bias is first and foremost, I have an understanding of fundamentals. So the first thing I do is I check the news at the top of the week, right? Check the news at the top of the week. Right. First things first, today is December 4th. So the 5th is technically the 5th because in Australia right now, it's December 5th in the morning. Okay. So as a trader, today is December 5th to you. Right. And we're looking at the charts. I see tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have ISM services. Do you guys know how to do research? All right. I'm going to show y'all how to do research. Not that anybody asked me, but I got you. Right. This is how you do research. All right. When you come to Forex Factory, you're going to see, you're going to see the screen. Okay. You can go to Forex Factory. You can follow along with me if you want to. All right. So you're going to see the screen pop up like this. What you're going to do is in the top, you might want to make an account so that it keeps your settings, I guess, maybe if you want to, it doesn't matter. Right. In the corner, you're going to click this green button here, right, with the funnel. And you're going to change this chart to take the yellow folders off. You don't want the yellow folders. Okay. You just want red, but it's okay, right? We can do orange and red, okay? Because sometimes on Forex Factory, orange really be red, but they lying to you, okay? So we're going to do orange and red, all right? And now what you want to do is on the top of the week or the beginning of the day, you want to go look at what news is going to drop, okay? So just now we had Euro news at 8:45 p.m. I didn't even peep, right? But tomorrow I have US dollar news at 10 a.m. Drop a 7 in the chat if you don't know what ISM Services PMI is. Because let me drop my 7 real quick. I don't know what the hell. I have no idea what that is. Okay. I got no idea what ISM Services PMI is. I'm just going to be real. I'm not trying to be the guy here. All right. We're in it to win it. We here together. All right. I'm in it with y'all. I'm looking at this like, all right, what's going on? So here's what we're going to do. This is how you do the research. You see the yellow folder. You're going to click the yellow folder, right? And it's going to open up the explanation for you. All right. At first, it's going to seem overwhelming, but I'm going to point out to you as a beginner the first things that you can look at to just understand a little bit what's going to happen at that time. Okay. So you're going to look where it says usual effect. Okay. That's the first thing you're going to look at, the usual effect. And for this one, we can see that usually when the actual is greater than the forecast, it's good for that currency. So let's look at an example. All right. The last time this came out was November 3rd, 2022. Right. So it shows us the history over here. Right. We can see all the previous ones. All right. So November 3rd, 2022. Right. And I can see that the forecast was at 55.5. Right. 55.5 was the forecast, but it actually came out at 54.4. Right. So given that, it says here, if the actual is bigger than the forecast, that's good for currency. But the actual was actually smaller than the forecast. So what word would you use to describe how that might affect the US dollar? Yeah, right. Bad. That's a Fendi, right? Bad. Everybody drop bad in the chat because it was an easy answer, right? So I want you to go ahead and claim that because you know the answer. All right. Bad is the answer, right? So and if you kind of think about it, right, even without us going on the chart and back testing it right now, right? What has the dollar been doing for the past month or two, right? What's the dollar been doing for the past month? Right? Since November 3rd, right? What has the dollar been doing? What the dollar probably do on November 3rd? Well, as far as my experience is trading, and I'm going to just, we can just go ahead and pull it up, right? The dollar's dropping, okay? The dollar has been dropping, right? So, that can kind of give you an idea. The dollar's actually been dropping since the beginning of November. Huh. And this is the reason that you do research. It'd just be interesting. Like, I'm just talking to y'all like, wait a second, right? It's kind of interesting, right? And so, boom. You can see here that the dollar, it kind of started stagnating in September, but we really started breaking lows in November. And just ironically, we really dropped off on November 3rd. Huh. What happened on November 3rd? Now that you guys are doing your research, whatever the heck ISM PMI is, that's what happened. Okay. Well, let me go look at something interesting, right? This is something interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I'll be making stuff up sometimes. Okay. So let's go look. Right. The past time before that, right? October 5th, 56.7, September 6th, 56.9. Well, that the number doesn't matter. What matters is the color. Right, green means that it was greater than the forecast. Red means that so green means good for currency, red means bad for currency, pretty much, right? So October we had good for currency, September we had good for currency, August we had good for currency, July we had good for currency, and literally when we were looking at the chart, we could see that the market was bullish during those months and also really stagnated in September, October. So it's not an end all be all, like, you get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you get the more of these news releases that happen and you're paying attention to them as they happen, you're starting to get the breadcrumbs for the overall story. Okay. It also, the second place you're going to look, so you have usual effect. The next thing you're going to look at is FF notes, right? Forex factory notes, right? It says this indicates industry expansion, below 50 indicates contraction. All right. So this is the supply management of the US. And it says that if the number is above 50, that indicates that the dollar is expanding pretty much. Okay. There you go. Right. The dollar is expanding. Money is expanding. The economy is expanding. And if we drop below the 50 level, then that would show us that the economy is actually, going lower. So let me add a little bit of my take onto this. And the take that I'm kind of looking at this with is that the dollar's been dropping and everybody's looking to see if the dollar's really, really dropping. Like if we're going to go turn around and go a different direction than we've been going for the past couple of months. And then, you got people deciding whether or not the dollar is going to turn around and actually go ahead and continue to move higher. I mean, you look at the monthly time frame, you guys can kind of get an idea that this drop that's happened, I mean, it's been big, but in the overall scheme of things, is it really that big? I mean, you guys think about it, right? So we're looking at a news release like this that's dropping tomorrow. The last time it came out, we were moving closer towards that 50 level, right? It would be interesting if right now we see that the next forecast is forecasted at 53.5, right? If it comes out lower than 53.5, I'm going to be honest, my bearish dollar is going to be heavy for the next week or so because that, like that's just more evidence in that direction. However, if it comes out above that 53.5 tomorrow, then I might I might look for confirmations on the chart for a bullish bias, for a bullish bias on the dollar and bearish on other things against the dollar. So that's a way that I would use. That is the way that I would use for or look at this, for example, and understand it. Now, clearly, maybe if this is your first time ever looking through that stuff, it might seem like a lot. It's not. Get over that. Tell yourself it's not a lot. You want to make a lot of money, so drop "it's not a lot" in the chat. Right? It's no way you want a lot of money, but then the work is a lot. Just ignore that thought. Just go ahead and it's not a lot, right? We just gonna go ahead and say that. Okay. So with that, and right below that, the last thing you can see is why traders care, right? And it literally breaks it down for you, right? It says it's a leading indicator of economic health. Businesses react quickly to market conditions, and their purchasing managers hold perhaps the most current and relevant insight into the company's view of the economy. Long story short, what I take from this is that this news release is showing us how businesses are spending in the country, right? That's what P in the PMI usually stands for, is producers index versus the consumers index. All right. So that's Monday's news. Hope you got value from that. Right. And then we have Australia dollar news tomorrow night. A lot of Australian dollar news. So we'll go ahead and look at AUD USD today. We also have Australian news on Tuesday, and we got CAD news on Wednesday. So we'll take a look at USD CAD. It's a Euro holiday on Thursday, and we have PPI dropping on Friday. Last week we had CPI, and as you remember, I'm going to hit the yellow folder. It's going to tell me what this is, right? And when I look, it says that okay. Yeah, it's at like it's two. These are the same release, by the way. These are the same release. It's just like, it's just there's just there twice, or it might be a degree in it that's different. But for the most part, the PPI is the indicator of consumer inflation, and the PPI is in the producer market. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much the wholesalers inflation versus our inflation, as consumers. So that's what's releasing on Friday, which again will give an idea about what's going on in the market. All right. So that's pretty much the news coming up this week. The idea is that the dollar's been straight just dropping, from the sky. And man, you can't play again. You can't bet against the dollar, man. Take it from me. Take it from me. All right. Don't bet against the dollar. All right. So until we start seeing break of structures, man, we gotta let that thing do what she do. When I look at the weekly chart, we can see that the dollar is actually at an area where if we look, oh goodness, sorry guys. It's in an area, if we look in the past, before all this happened, right? At one point, this was the high, right? At one point, this place that we're going to was the highest place that we had ever been since 9/11, right? That's where this was right here. Okay. And then what happened was, the dollar said, the dollar said, bump all that. We're gonna break through the sky. And so the reason that I point that out, I want this to go away. The reason that I point that out is because right now the dollar is actually just breaking that previous high, right? A lot of retail concepts we get taught in the beginning is at the end of the day break and retest, right? This would be what somebody would consider a break and retest, right? Let me put a horizontal line all the way across, right? This is an example of what somebody would define as a break and retest. What's a break and retest? Well, when you have an area of support, right? You have an area of support, and then price breaks above that area, comes back down, retest that area as it did here, and then it takes off, right? Comes back, retest, and takes off, right? And so we've made this pull back to this area very sharply, right? So do we reject here? Or do we go ahead and break through this? Again, I don't want to trade against the dollar's momentum. So against the dollar's momentum, it would be dropping. So I'm going to continue with the bias that it would drop until it doesn't drop. Now, the only thing that I'm going to be aware of, though, all right, is that the way that I trade, this is a very key level. Okay, this is a very key level, right? Why is this a key level, Maverick? This is a key level because of one thing I told you, one thing that makes this a key level. Let's start breaking out our confirmations. Key level confirmations, right? First thing that tells us this is a key level, right, is that we broke resistance on the monthly, aka higher time frame. Might write this down. It might be good. I don't know. It might be. Right? Right? So it broke resistance. Okay? And now retesting resistance. Okay? The third thing that shows me this is an interesting area is why. Well, let me show you why, right? So for me, these candles right here, right? Okay. That candle that I just put my arrow on, the red arrow, and let me put this EMA away. Okay. This red arrow right here. Okay. That red candle is massively larger than the candle before that. Can you see that? Drop a 3 in the chat if you can see that. Maybe let me see if you're paying attention for it. All right. This candle, okay, the white one, this is a black candle, this is a white candle. Okay. This one is bigger than the one before it. Okay. And not just bigger than the one before it, because it could just be two white, two of the same candles, but there was a move down and then there was a move up. All right. So when I see these type of candles are called engulfing candles. Okay. They're called engulfing candles. All right. That's what these candles are. They're engulfing candles. All right. And the way that the system, the way that I trade, I do my best to think of the markets from the direction of the institutions, because they're the ones who make the markets, they manipulate the markets, right? So I like to think from the thought of an institution. All right. We like to say that these engulfing candles, they represent institutional entries. Okay. That's what this represents to me, right? So when I see an engulfing candle like this, that is in my mind an institutional candle. That is an institutional buy, right? That is how I see it. Okay. I see it as the institutional sell before so they could get a better position to take an institutional buy. All right. This as medium as it's gonna get. Okay. And so that they could take an institutional buy. Right now, institutional, that word does not matter. Right. What I want to just explain, what I want to convey, though, is that the fact that that happened makes that's another key. That's another confirmation on why this is a key level. Right. Because when we come down to institutional areas where they previously bought and sold, those are areas where there's a lot of liquidity because a lot of money entered the markets in those same areas before. Does that make sense? Doing my best here. Doing my best. Okay. Does that make sense? High energy, high income now. Talk to me. Does that make sense? Institutional. All right, cool. Right. All right. And we're just going to say order block. Okay. Bet. I'm keeping them, making sure everybody's getting me. I'm not looking to go stupid. I'm just looking to get a perspective off, right? And so that is another confirmation. We're inside of where an institutional order block can be on the weekly. So why is that important? I know right now in our eyes, they are currently, we can currently see that the current candle in the market is pushing through this area, right? But what I want you guys to remember is that this candle will not be finished until Saturday, right? This candle will not be finished till Saturday. So that means that through this week, I will see whether or not this candle closes as a break through this area, or I will see if this candle closes as a wick into this and it closes bullish. Now, what do you think I think if I see it close bullish? Do you think that that means I think the market's going to buy? No, it means that I think we're going to get better sell entries, right? Regardless of what's going on right now, we see the dollar, until I see the dollar break structure maybe above here, right? Or just start breaking structure. If for right now it's there, right? I would have to see them buy up and then come down like that for me to think that the dollar was starting to buy up. I would need to see that happen. Or, if, it continues to sell, the idea is that until we see something happen, where the dollar forms a floor and goes above it, comes back to it and does that, until I see that happen in some capacity, I'm not thinking the dollar is going to. Right now, there's none of this happening. Do you see what I'm saying? None of that is happening right now. You feel me? So right now, I'm staying bearish on dollar. Okay. So the idea is just, okay, where are going to be the opportunities this week? Brian already knows this is why I don't necessarily always be wanting to trade on. I don't necessarily always rush to take trades on Monday. If we see a setup right now, I'll definitely put one out there. But at the end of the day, I don't really like to trade on Mondays. I just want to kind of get into that, right? So when it comes to the dollar, that's what I'm seeing. I want to see how they react to the area we're at right now, like I said, because this area is literally the imbalance, in that the imbalance, I'm sorry, the gap area on a smaller time frame, right? They needed to kind of come into this. So I want to see how they react here, right? I want to see if I'm going to wake up tomorrow and we just, we did all kind of action like this, and then I can continue to take sales, or do I wake up tomorrow and this whole thing that's happening right here was just a spike down, and I wake up tomorrow and we're actually trading up here. You feel me? That might be what something to pay attention to. So this is a key level, and I just gave the reasons that I believe it's a key level. The point I'm making is whenever you're in a key level, you got to, I mean, I'm personally a little bit more patient. Okay. I make the most money, right? I'm gonna show you. I make the most money when the market is doing this. This is when I make the most money. Yes, I got you, bro. I'm gonna drop them in the chat, actually. Oh, that's crazy. Not text, right? So I just dropped it in the chat. Okay. Now I make the most money, right? When the market looks like this, right? So we got a Friday here, right? We got a Friday, Monday, Wednesday, boom. When the market's doing that, right? That's when I'm making the most money, right? In situations when the market is sliding consistently, right? Constantly getting movements. Now you see what the dollar's starting to do, right? You see this choppiness that we starting to act up. It's okay, right? It's okay. But at the end of the day, I would like to see the dollar pull back maybe up into these higher low areas, because at the end of the day, it's not gonna just drop, right? We have to see some type of a climb, right? Or some type of a climb. So that's what I would like to see on the dollar. And so the way that the dollar works, if we're going to look at AUD USD right now, if I'm looking to see the dollar continue to go lower or potentially continue to go lower, I would be expecting AUD USD to potentially go higher. You feel me? So we take a look at AUD USD, right? Start off on the higher time frame, of course, or on start off on the daily. Start off on the daily, and we can see that it's been extremely bullish for the past about since October, the middle of October, USD has been bullish, right? Now, similar to the dollar, you can see that recently she's kind of broken past the previous support, right? In the past, this was the floor in the market. That was the lowest the market had came in the past when it was up here. And she broke under it and then came, is shooting above that, right? So what I would want to pay attention to is this high in the past right here from September 13th. Look at that, my birthday. All right. From September 13th. Okay. You see, this is the last, this is the last high. We haven't been this high in the market since that time, right? So I want to see same thing. Okay, patience, guys. I promise you, I've been doing this for a minute. I've rushed, you feel me? I've taken, I've gone into it just because I have the skill set to do so, but it ain't about that. It's very difficult for me to have a bias and yet, because the market has not showed what it wants to do. We could break through this and we could retest it and keep going like that, right? Or like I showed on the dollar, we could break through it, break below, and we can continue to go lower, because on a higher time frame, that's the type of energy it has been going lower on a monthly time frame. So I want to be patient this week, right? I want to be patient this week. I want to let the market show its hand. I'm not quick to say, oh, this is definitely what's going to happen. Oh, we need to be looking. I'm not doing that, and you shouldn't either, right? Every day I show up to the market, I'm not going to show up with I can't. I would love to have a bias, but right now I'm wanting to determine my bias, and the way the markets are setting up right now, I might not be able to have that bias until Monday night, right? I may not be able to have that bias until right before I press the button, right? And so I'm just in a state of having to pay attention. So with like I said, with AUD USD coming up into this zone right here, I'm like that price zone right there. Okay. So I want to see how they react there. Like plain and simply. If I was gonna look for an opportunity on this, for some reason, if you're looking for trades on a Sunday night or going into a Monday, I mean, until we get up into here, it's all buy opportunity to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, potential, like if they pulled back anywhere, if they pulled back anywhere into, this move, excuse me, if they pulled back anywhere into this previous move, this massive, buy up that they did with no pullbacks, right? If they came back anywhere in that move, that's a potential entry, right? That's a potential entry on this, right? So I'm just showing you guys, like, there's always trades. Like I could definitely find a trade, but I don't trade like that no more. So I'm not gonna put y'all in that situation, when I'm teaching. You feel me? I'm gonna just teach. I'm gonna show you how I do it, but you can take what I'm saying and you can apply it yourself. And shoot, if you want to take trades on a Sunday night, then by all means, you feel me? Go ahead and take it, or not even a Sunday night, but when the market is not clear, you feel me? Then by all means, you could definitely do that. This move right here, that thing is gone. You feel me? This little buy that happened already is gone, right? So no, I would not. I don't want to sell. I don't want to take a buy at the high. The only way that I would want this position is if we get down into this area right here, right? So if I can give that number to you guys, it's pretty much 0.6808 on AUD USD, right? For those of y'all who don't get on my calls, I'm not getting, like, it's not a signal service, right? I'm giving you the breakdown of how I do it. You got the access to education. So now take this, put it on your chart at that number, and you pay attention to what happens at that price level this week, right? You pay attention to what happens there on Monday. See if what you get, if you're on Go Live and you see them talking about the same price level, you can kind of get an idea for what we were talking about today, right? If I would love to see love to see AU go ahead and, give out, some weakness, right? Trade into that level. And then, yeah, boom, trade right up into this. And then here we'll be able to make a decision as to how the market is going to continue to move, for the rest of the month, right? For the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of the play on AUD USD. We're waiting to see what happens, but what I want to happen is I want to see them go ahead and drop, come back to a low, give us another higher low, right? Because low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So I want that next higher low. Where's the best chances of us getting that higher low? At least, well, I need to know where they're gonna stall out, right? So if we don't know, this next candle, 12 o'clock midnight, could just burst up, right? But if they do start to stagnate, then when I wake up in the morning, or London session, if I come to London session, I'll be able to look at this and say, okay, and boom, this is this whole move. Can y'all hear me? Okay, you might oh, well, she can't hear me, but y'all tell her in the chat she might have to re-enter, right? In this instance right here, guys, you see me using this tool. It's called the Fibonacci tool. You don't need the Fibonacci tool. I could have used a ruler if I wanted to. I just want to figure out what the halfway point of this move is, right? That's all I want to find out. When I use the ruler, you see this little line right here? That's the halfway point, right? All I want to know is where the halfway point of the move is, right? Because if I know my bias is for buys and the market just took off, I'm not going to buy at the high. You don't buy high, you buy low. So I want the market to come down to give me a higher low, right? Now, would you guys be more likely to buy something if I put it on sale for 30% off, or if I put it on sale for 50% off? Which one would you be more likely, right? Like, y'all go to the stores all the time and you see 30% sales, and don't like I know there's some of y'all are just chronic shoppers and you take the 30% sales, but I know you see that 50% off, it'd be let me check I might have 50. Shit, you said 50% off? 60. Oh, nah, 60%. Yo, hello? Yo, Brian. Yeah, bro. Look, we about to go half on this resort, bro. Yeah, we going, it's next month, bro. I know we don't need it, bro, but it's 70% off, bro. I'm gonna be real, right? Anything, once you get over that 50% level, people start acting weird. Y'all get what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say sentimental analysis. Like, I don't just need somebody to break it down to me technically for me to get the reason that the 50% level of a movement is important. Do you get what I'm saying? Drop a 1 in the chat if you get what I'm saying. It ain't just about like magical mumbo jumbo that's happening on the chart. It's common sense, guys. If something happens, if a price goes up and somebody changes a price by a certain amount and then they give you a 50% discount, anything above 50%, you're going to go straighty. But for some reason, the 30% is not as convincing. It's not as convincing. But if you want to get the masses, 50-60%. So if we want to get a lot of volume in the market, I don't just want a little pullback. I want us to be able to take the highs. So if I'm going to take the highs, I need them to give at least a 50% discount, right? So off the rip, I draw that, or I use the Fibonacci. I find the halfway point of the move. Now I know this is the halfway point. So any entries I'm looking for has to be below that halfway point. Above it is not. I don't care. I don't want that. I'm not taking a higher, I'm not taking a higher low, but because my risk to reward is not going to be able to be that what I need it to be, because my stop loss is going to go below the previous low. You feel me? So the closer I can get to that previous low, the better. I don't want no 30% pullback. I'm going to be up here. Your stop loss is going to be down here. No, right? I need to get as close to this previous low as possible. That's where the fibs do come in, and you can rub the fibs from the high to the low. And okay, yes, that was the 50% of the move, but then the fibs also show me this is the 62% and this is the 70%. And we already said what happens when that 70% off deal comes. Me and Brian going to the resort. It don't matter what we had going on next month. I know it was T's birthday, but the resort was 70% off. So what you wanted to talk about, right? And so this is the same thing with the market, right? This is the low of the move. So at the end of the day, if we're going to come back down to at least 60%, I'll be willing to take that 60% with my stop loss below the low, but maybe just below that previous institutional buy, right? Below that previous institutional buy. That's a 22 pip stop loss. And my take profit would be above the highs, or as I showed you guys on a higher time frame, the target zones that we mapped out on the 4 hour from in the past, where we have this big behind drop, right? So that would be our target from the higher time frame, which when I rule out my risk to reward would put me at about a 1 to 3 for, about just underneath a 1 to 3 for that first level, and then about a 1 to easy 1 to 3 for that second level. You feel me? So like if I'm looking for a trade right now, this is what I see. But this is the reason that I said, well, let me allow the market to set up. So this is not me saying, hey, set a buy limit on this trade. This is me saying, pay attention, because today is Monday. All right. You want to pay attention. So what you want to see is that when the market gets down into this area, we need consolidation, right? Or we need the market to come above this area and consolidate. Because when they make their move, what they're going to do is they're going to wick, and then they're going to make that move. Does that make sense? So I need to be paying attention to how price reacts when it gets to that area, right? Just like you might pay attention to how certain people act around other people. Like if you around your friends and they acting scared around somebody, you be like, yo, you been beating up my friend, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna be like, yo, what's going on? So you want to look at the market like, yo, when the market gets to that level, it starts to flinch a little bit. You about to buy, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you gonna be. So that's AU. So we'll pay attention to that, because like I said, we got news for that on Tuesday. But that's what I would see for right now. And I'm gonna be real. If this were to play out on a Monday type of thing, then I would definitely not be surprised Tuesday to see them do some degree of a pullback on the buying that they've been doing. But like I said, I'm not picking any biases today, because last week was not a pick week. It wasn't pick a bias week. It wasn't pick a bias week. All right. So we just gonna keep the same energy going into this week. We're not gonna pick a bias. We're gonna let the market show us. And then when we go into the, we gonna, yeah, bro. Yeah, it's okay, bro. Right. It's all right, man. Happens to the best of us. You feel me? Happens to the best of us. All right. So that's AUD USD. Ironically, I also have USD CAD here. Right. Yeah. We made it out. Right. And we have USD CAD here. Right. And again, we have Canadian news coming on Wednesday, right, alongside the US dollar news that'll be dropping throughout the week. And similar to the US dollar, USD CAD usually runs alongside the US dollar, right? So we can see with the US dollar here, right? The US dollar is going ahead and taking these lows. We got lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. On USD CAD, we have a higher high and a higher low, guys. So now this is some advanced stuff, right? So I know everybody said medium, but we done lost a couple people. So I know some people appreciate the advanced sauce, right? This is what I call currency divergence, right? This is what I call currency divergence, right? Sometimes people have indicators and the indicators might show a buy, but then the chart will look like a sell, and that's divergence, right? Well, similarly enough, if the dollar is making higher highs and higher lows, I mean, if the dollar is making lower highs and lower lows, what should USD CAD be doing? So if the dollar is going lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, is USD CAD going higher high, higher low, or is it going lower low, lower high? Right. It would supposed to be going the same direction as the US dollar because the USD is in the front, right? Because the USD is in the front. So it should be going the same direction as the US dollar. But again, if we look on the daily, right, USD CAD's previous high was here and the low is here, and we just broke that, right? We're moving lower, right? And then we have USD CAD where we see a higher high, a higher low, right? And pretty much that's kind of like where we're at right now. So that's where we would call a divergence, right? There's something there's something trippy going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's lying. That's what's going on right now. Somebody's lying. Like somebody's not telling the truth, right? So either the dollar, as I pointed out, is at an area where it needs to get ready to pull back from. Interesting, right? Interesting. Or, right, USD CAD is just, trying its best to go up and it's really just actually going to give us a massive drop, right? So this is where personally, I'm willing to take the dollars. I'm willing to take the dollars bet on this, right? Maybe if we look at some of the other majors as well, right, we'll see that USD Chef is showing lower lows and lower highs, right? We can see that, right? So maybe USD CAD just didn't get the memo, right? And if USD CAD didn't get the memo, that means USD CAD is late. And if USD CAD is late, that means even more opportunity. So let's get in here on the 4 hour. Right, let's get in here on the 4 hour. Let's cut down on the 1 hour. Right, we can see that USD CAD just broke the previous low. We can see that USD CAD just broke the previous low from from last Thursday. They literally just opened up this week breaking that low, right? So boom, here's that low. The low before that was November 29th. Boom, right here, right? Those are the last two lows. And you can see what has the market done. Literally just drizzled. Boom, smacked the first. Boom, smacked under this low. So the next low target is here, right? This is the next target for the market. Right, if the market gonna keep dropping, which the dollar shows lower lows and lower highs, so no matter what USD CAD talking about, you feel me? The dollar showing lower lows and lower highs. The thing is that I just again, I'm not gonna just sell at a low. That's crazy. I'm not about to just sell at a low. And also, this is a lot for them to come back into, right? So I actually like the way this is setting up, even though it's a Monday, and we have that USD news in the morning. And again, like we said, that USD news is forecasted to come out lower, but if it's lower again for a second time in a row, that would be very bearish for the dollar, right? So what I'll be paying attention to on this is similar to what I just showed you guys on AUD USD. I see the top of this move was here and they sold off to down here, right? And so similarly as well with this, right? I'm going to pay attention to where that 50% is. But me personally, like I just want it above the 50%, but I personally like when it comes up to that 62 to 71 area, right? I personally like when I see that. It's called When no, it doesn't matter. We ain't gonna go into what it's called, but I like when it gets up into that a 60%, 70% pullback, right? Not a halfway, but just over halfway of a pullback. So I hope I'm explaining Fibonacci in a way that, or these percentages in a way that's not overwhelming to the newest person, right? I hope you're able to just digest that all it is if it pulled back halfway of the move that it just made, that's it. It's a 50% pullback, right? If it pulls back a little over halfway, that could be 60%. It could be 70%, right? So when we say these percentages, that's all we're talking about. Okay. So that's kind of what I would be looking, and just ironically enough, right? That 60%, 70% on USD CAD, right inside of that, we have this area where we had institutional buy up, right, to an institutional sell down. Beautiful area, right? So I'll want to again, look for an opportunity here. Probably have my stop loss above the high here. That's 14 pips. If I wanted to be safe, I can go 35, but no, I would go above, that previous high. That would be about 13 pips. My take profit would be at that next low that we talked about. And so this would be a better trade setup at a 1-to-5 setup, right? So that is the second thing. That's the second play that I'll be looking for. Going off the rip. Am I making sense? Right? Drop some sevens in the chat if you're getting value. Right? Drop some sevens in the chat if you are getting value. All right. So yeah. So that would be the next lower low right there. This would be a potential entry. Or a bearish move on USD CAD. Right. So I don't want to put the like risk thing up yet, because you put the risk thing up and everybody act like you sending a trade already. I'm like, no, it's not what's happening here. All right. I'm just giving you guys the potential. And that should be that, man. That should be pretty much, those are some good ones. Anybody have questions, now would be the time. Now would be the time. I mean, USD CAD and the AUD USD. Hey, bet. No questions. All right, all right, all right. Dude is obsessed. Dude is obsessed. He has a problem. All right. Okay, and then this is AU. I keep putting the damn chart on my chart. All right. Boom. And I'm going to stop this